Okay. Get in. We're going to compete and see who can fit more marshmallows in their mouth. These are Trader Joe's new strawberry and watermelon marshmallows. Okay, you ready?
She's forcing me to do this.
Okay.
Hello guys, welcome back to the channel. So yeah, we've got some real movement here, and it's starting to feel like things are heating up around the Indiana fever in a serious way. And today, we're talking Lexie Hull, because this situation right here, it's not small. It's one of those under-the-radar storylines that could actually shift the direction of this roster, depending on how it plays out. So, Lexie Hull news. Lexie Hull news. Let's break it down properly. First off, obviously, Lexie Hull is a player for the Fever, and the Fever absolutely want to keep her. There's no debate about that. She's one of those players that doesn't always show up in the flashy stat lines, but when you actually watch the games, when you really understand what she brings, you realize how valuable she is. She's an all-source type of player. She defends, she hustles, she cuts, she spaces the floor, she brings energy every single possession. And those kinds of players, every team in the WNBA wants them. Every single one. And that's where things start to get interesting, because she's not just sitting around waiting for Indiana to make a move. She's taking meetings. Multiple meetings. And one of the big rumors floating around right now is the New York Liberty being one of those teams. Now, that alone is already something you have to pay attention to. But then you add in the little detail, Sabrina Ionescu following her on Instagram. Now look, is that officially tampering? No. Is it something? Yeah, it's something. Because in today's game, especially in the WNBA, those little social signals matter. They hint at interest, they hint at communication, and most importantly, they hint at possibility. And that's where the conversation shifts into this whole hometown discount narrative that people keep throwing around. People are like, oh, she'll stay in Indiana, she'll take less money, she'll stay close to Caitlyn, it makes sense for her brand. But here's the reality. Friendships don't disappear just because you change teams. That's not how this works. If anything, going to a market like New York could actually elevate her off-court opportunities even more. You're talking about one of the biggest media markets in the world. More exposure, more endorsements, more visibility. So if we're being honest, the stay for business reasons argument, that can go both ways. Now, let's talk money, because at the end of the day, this is what it comes down to. If New York misses out on a bigger target like Alana Smith and pivots and says, you know what, let's go get Lexie Hull, and they throw something like $600K, $650K, maybe even higher, can Indiana match that? That's the big question. And honestly, it's not a simple yes, because here's where things get technical. Lexie Hull is a restricted free agent. So what does that actually mean? It means she can go out, talk to other teams, negotiate, and even sign an offer sheet. But the Fever have the right to match whatever offer she signs. That's called the right of first refusal. So in theory, Indiana has control here. But in reality, it's not that simple, because just because you can match an offer doesn't mean you should match it. And it definitely doesn't mean you can afford to match it, depending on how your cap sheet is structured. So if Lexie goes out and gets, let's say, an $800K offer from New York, now Indiana has to make a decision. Do we match that and commit a huge portion of our cap to a role player? Or do we let her walk and try to replace her value somewhere else? That's a tough call. Now, let's look at the Liberty side of things, because this is where it gets even more interesting. At first glance, people will say, there's no way New York can afford her. They already have 3 max players. And yeah, on paper, that sounds true. But when you actually break it down, it's not that simple. There's a real possibility that some of their stars take slight pay cuts. Not massive ones, but enough to create flexibility. And beyond that, the rest of their roster is filled with players on minimum or reserve contracts. And those reserve contracts are key, because those players don't have much leverage. They either take the deal or they don't play. So New York can fill out the rest of their roster cheaply while allocating more money toward a key piece like Lexie Hall. And then you add in international players coming over, draft flexibility, and suddenly they have options. That's what makes this dangerous for Indiana, because if New York decides Lexie Hall is their target, they can absolutely structure things in a way to go get her. And let's not pretend teams don't overpay for players like her. We've seen it before. You look at comparable players, similar impact, similar role, and they're getting paid big money. So the idea that someone might throw close to $1 million at Lexie Hall, it's not crazy. It only takes one team with cap space, one team that values culture, defense, effort, and suddenly the price goes up fast. And that's the scary part for the Fever, because they're not in a position where they can just throw money around freely. They've got other priorities. They've got roster construction decisions, and they've got to think about the bigger picture. Now, let's talk fit for a second. Because Indiana basically has two players in that same mold, Lexie Hull and Sophie Cunningham. And ideally, you want both. You want depth, you want versatility, you want multiple players who can bring that energy and toughness. But financially, it might not be possible. And that's where the front office has to make a decision. Who do you prioritize? Who gives you more value relative to cost? Who fits better long term? And those aren't easy questions. Now, here's another angle that not enough people are talking about. What if a team like Dallas jumps into this? Because think about it. Dallas has been clearing cap space. They need culture. They need identity. They need players who are going to come in and set a tone. Lexie Hull fits that perfectly. So if you're Dallas, why not offer something aggressive? Why not go 1 year, $1 million, or even structure a 2-year deal to secure her while maintaining flexibility for the future? Because if you can lock in a player like that before your young core fully hits their max contracts, that's smart roster building. And suddenly, what looked like a quiet free agency situation turns into a bidding war. And again, Indiana is stuck reacting. That's the position they don't want to be in, because once the market sets the price, you're no longer negotiating. You're deciding whether to match or walk away. And if they get outbid, there's not much they can do. That's just the reality. Now, let's be clear about one thing. Losing Lexie Hall isn't the end of the world, but it is a loss. It's the kind of loss that doesn't always show up immediately, but you feel it over time. You feel it in defensive possessions. You feel it in hustle plays. You feel it in those moments where effort makes the difference. And replacing that, it's not easy, especially when there aren't a ton of players available who bring that same level of intensity. So if she leaves, Indiana has to pivot. Maybe you bring back a player on a minimum deal. Maybe you try to develop someone internally. Maybe you adjust your system. But none of those options are perfect. And that's why this situation matters. Because it's not just about one player. It's about roster balance, cap management, and long-term planning. And right now, it feels like this could go either way. If Indiana can keep the number reasonable, they probably bring her back. But if another team decides to push the market, that's when things get complicated. That's when tough decisions get made. And that's when you find out how much a player is really valued. So yeah, this is one to watch closely, because it might not be the biggest headline right now, but it could end up being one of the most important moves of the offseason, depending on how it plays out. But anyway, that's the video. Let me know what you think down below. Do you think the Fever should match any offer no matter what? Or is there a number where you let Lexie Hall walk? Don't forget to like and subscribe.
Ready? 1.
We don't have enough marshmallows for this. Okay.
2. Don't chew it.
Don't go too. You're gonna have to go faster.
3. 4.
Hold on. Wait. I think we're gonna have enough marshmallows. Daniel. 5. 6. 7.
Mm-hmm.